I would like to welcome to the stage for the welcome address from the City of London, the Chair of the Policy and Resources Committee of the City of London Corporation, Catherine McGuinness.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for that introduction. And good morning, everybody. It's great to welcome you here to Guildhall. Great to see so many people here in person, even on a wet, cold Monday morning, and to host you here in our old library. Actually, not one of the oldest parts of the building. We have far older parts. This was just built to replace a previous library, but it was home for many years to thousands and thousands of books. And as you look around, you'll see, if you can see up there, you'll see the faces of some of the great writers and thinkers of the past looking down on you. You'll see stained glass windows above my head, which represent some of the technology of the past, the printing press with Wynken de Worde and Caxton up there somewhere. So we're really in a room that reflects the thinking and the technology of the past. And it's great actually to be here, to be meeting to discuss the thinking and technology of the present and the future, and to be focusing on fintech, reflecting the UK's burgeoning tech expertise and how important fintech is, what an increasingly vital part of our innovative financial ecosystem it is. Part of what makes the city the great financial centre that it remains. The UK fintech market, you will no doubt be hearing statistics from many others than me over the course of the next few days, but it's now worth £6.6 billion to the UK economy and employs around 76,000 people. And it's predicted that employment number will grow significantly by 2030. And we're seeing very strong growth in fintech investment, with $11.6 billion being invested into UK firms in 2021, marking a massive increase, 217% increase on 2020. So we really want to maintain this momentum to ensure that London and the UK remains a world-leading financial centre for fintech. And ultimately, we don't just want London at the heart of fintech, we want fintech at the heart of London. And here at the City of London Corporation, the organisation which looks after the Square Mile, as well as working very closely with that sector that carries our name, we aim to enhance London's offer to the world as a global financial and professional services centre. And we work very closely with practitioners and policymakers to discuss the concerns, the issues and the competitiveness challenges facing the sector so that we can help to shape the future direction of financial services policy. We also actively support the development of tech products that will help drive innovation across the sector. For example, our development of the digital sandbox with the FCA has given an opportunity to accelerate innovation in key areas such as ESG, data and disclosures. I must say, when I became a local councillor, it wasn't a digital sandbox I was really expecting to be looking after, but it's been great to see that initiative do so well. More recently, we've partnered with Microsoft to explore the role of tech in making supply chains more cyber secure. And what we see is huge opportunities here in the UK with the clusters of expertise that we have, not just in London, but across the whole UK. We see huge opportunities for homegrown initiatives and huge opportunities for global initiatives and investment. And summits such as these are so important as people come together to build their networks, build their connections, and help to build the sector. As the flagship event of UK FinTech Week, this summit is a great opportunity to hear from some of the leading global voices in this space, whether it's on investment, regulation, government policy, emerging trends, security, or sustainability. This conference programme looks as full of insights and as impactful as ever. I'd like to thank Innovate Finance for their continued work in championing UK innovation. We've enjoyed a very productive relationship with the team over the years, and we look forward to yet another really successful UK FinTech Week. A very special thanks to Janine Hirt, who you're going to be hearing from in a minute, for her work as CEO, and the work that she's doing to reinforce the UK as a global hub for fintech. I very much hope that you enjoy today and the wider programme. I hope it warms up and dries up a little bit before lunch, and I look forward to hearing more from the fintech community during the week. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Catherine, thank you very much indeed. And now let me introduce someone who will be familiar to very many of you, Janine Hirt, who is CEO of Innovate Finance.
Welcome, everyone, to IFGS 2022, the 8th annual edition of Innovate Finance's Global Summit and the kickoff to UK FinTech Week. I, the entire Innovate Finance team and board, have waited 2 years for us to bring this conference back in person. So I am so excited to see all of you here face-to-face today. And I promise you, we are going to make this a summit and a UK FinTech Week to remember. I think all of you will agree with me when I say that it is a momentous time for fintech, and also a very critical time for fintech as well. Many point to the financial crash of 2007 and 2008 as the catalyst for the current fintech movement that we see today. And indeed, new entrants stepped up at that point in time to create greater choice from consumers and to rebuild trust and resilience in the financial services system. Over the past decade and more, we've only seen that change and that pace of transformation increase into a better financial services, and a different one than we knew before. As an example, we know that in 2019, more than 60% of all SME lending across the entirety of the UK came through alternative lenders and challenger banks. And once again, we are now coming out of an unprecedented global crisis where, yet again, fintech stepped up to the challenge. In the face of COVID-19, fintech stepped up to collaborate with the industry, to provide better choice to consumers, to support SMEs and individuals to make it through a crisis we've never known before. Now, out of COVID, we also saw a reliance on technology and fintech solutions we've never seen before, with the pace of adoption rising here in the UK so high that now 8 out of every 10 UK adults are using a fintech tool. Fintechs are not only competing with, but they're overtaking and they're partnering the large incumbent financial services institutions. Think about Revolut, valued at $33 billion, or Checkout.com at $40 billion as well. However, just as we come out now from one crisis, we sit on the brink of 3 incredibly difficult challenges and global crises as well. Firstly, we as a planet are facing one of the biggest challenges we've ever seen in terms of averting climate change. This can only be done by connecting every purchase and every investment to climate impact. And it can be only done by giving individuals and SMEs the tools to make informed decisions. And all of you here, the fintech community, has a key role to play because those solutions are around using data and technology in the right way. Fintech is critical to making sure we have a greener and a more sustainable financial services sector, but a greener and more sustainable economy and society overall. Secondly, a few weeks ago, the absolute unthinkable happened. As Russia invaded Ukraine, and we now have war on European soil. It feels ridiculous in a way that I can stand up here when we watch what's happening to our neighbors in Ukraine. But such is the world. However, what has been incredibly heartening is to watch the fintech community and actually the entire financial services community come together, mobilize to create significant support for the humanitarian efforts, including enabling refugees who are fleeing the country to access bank accounts or access those critical transfers from money and family to give them some sense of control over their life. We also, as we all know, saw the sanctions implemented by our sector at unprecedented scale, speed, and coverage. And we know that so many fintechs are creating new solutions to help all of us increase our cyber resilience and our cyber security as well. And to top it all off, we now sit on the brink of one of the largest cost of living crises that we've potentially ever seen, with living standards in the UK set to drop more than they have in the last 70 years since records first began. Now, we know that this is going to impact individuals' financial wealth, financial health, and their financial resilience, and it will therefore also impact their mental health as well. And many small businesses will struggle throughout this crisis in front of us. But I also know that this is galvanizing every single one of you here in the room and all of the fintech and the financial innovation leaders to continue to innovate and create solutions that put the customer back at the center of the proposition, that continue to drive greater financial wellness, greater financial health, and that continue to create a financial services system that is more democratic, that is more inclusive, that is ultimately better for every single one of us. And that is potentially never been as important as it is right now today. Our future as an industry, but also really as an economy, will ultimately depend on our response to these crises. It will depend on disruption, and it will depend on collaboration across all of the different players within our ecosystem. And it will depend on a new wave of innovation, including embedded finance, blockchain-enabled payments and markets, programmable and digital assets, and solutions around artificial intelligence and machine learning as well. Which ultimately is then putting regulation into the fore. So we're moving fast as an industry. We need to ensure that we have effective and quick regulation that both protects the consumer, but also enables those innovations to thrive. Because at the end of the day, it is the end consumer that benefits from these new technologies and these new products and systems. Now, I'm confident that the fintech community will not only meet these challenges, but we will grow even stronger through them. So big topics, big themes, and we're going to talk about all this and more over the next 48 hours. We're also going to look at some of the key trends that are gripping the industry, and we'll also look at the changing investment landscape and how partnerships are growing and adjusting in our new environment. Now, we know that we have made, as Catherine so eloquently spoke earlier about, huge strides here in the UK in terms of maintaining our position as the best place in the world to start, build, and scale a fintech business. $11.6 billion went into our ecosystem in 2021, a 200% increase year on year, second only to the world behind the United States and ahead of the next 6 European hubs combined. And we also know that we have made great strides on the Khalifa Review and very strong progress on a number of the recommendations, including the announcement of a scale-up visa, government support for the Center for Finance, Innovation and Technology, reforms to the listing rules, and also an overhaul of the listing rules as well. Now today, we are going to talk about the next steps for the UK and what we have to do to continue pushing ahead. And we're also going to hear from other hubs around what they are doing when it comes to approaching innovation across financial services. So the individuals and the leaders that are transforming financial services have already proven that it is possible to have a better financial services system that provides better solutions and works better for all of us. But we have to continue pushing forward, and we have to keep that momentum up. And all of us, government, regulators, and industry, have to work together. And looking out into the audience today, I know that every single one of you here are not the type of individuals that will sit and rest on your laurels. You are the ones that will continue to push forward, to continue to push the boundaries, continue to push the lines, and innovate and change and create a better financial services system. One that is, as I said, more inclusive, more democratic, more diverse, more effective, and that works better for every single one of us. So today, alongside calling for this greater momentum, we are also going to celebrate the fantastic achievements of the community that sits before me. Our UK FinTech community, but also our international global financial innovation community as well. So before I close, I want to say a few very, very brief thank yous. A huge thank you to all the sponsors and supporters of UK FinTech Week, including our gold sponsors of IFGS 2022, Checkout.com, Austrade, DIT, EY, Ion Group, and IBM. And our UK FinTech Week partners 2022, the City of London, HMT, London and Partners, and DIT. And I want to say a huge thank you to the Innovate Finance team, who I have the joy and privilege of working with every single day, and a special shout out to our COO, Haley Bromelo, who puts really her heart and soul into this conference. I also want to say a huge thank you to our board, and a special shout out to our brilliant and inspirational chair, Lou Smith, who you'll hear from later today as well. And finally, and really most importantly, I want to say a huge thank you to all of our Innovate Finance members. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for inspiring all of us every single day. I and the Innovate Finance team are so proud to serve you. If this crisis has taught us anything, it is that ultimately, it's all about the people. The people we create for, and the people we create with. So I ask all of you today, tomorrow, for the rest of UK FinTech Week, look around this room. Take the time to engage, to connect, to collaborate. Because you are the leaders that are transforming the world day by day and step by step. And I am so excited to see the next chapter of financial services innovation unfold. Thank you all so much for joining us today at IFGS. Have a wonderful summit and a great UK FinTech Week.